Hello and welcome to another JNP video. I'm your host John, and today is going to be another short little video. I actually did this live commentary. I don't know if this is going to be a short little video, but I don't know. So yeah, I did this live commentary. It was around 12 minutes long. I didn't cover every single topic of today's topic. So I decided to do this scripted since it can be done in a considerably shorter amount of time. But before that, I'll give a shout out to Kira the Deity. It's one of the officers of Trillium for pulling both an Albert and a Ganda in a couple of minutes prior to this recording. So congratulations to Kira for that one. And I also put this clip on Django, who also did a 1000 Trove of Wondering live stream. And this is the best item that he got, and here's the reaction. It's sad. Hey, at least a fortress!
There you go.
Woohoo!
Took till f***ing 4.
Yeah, that was his live reaction and also my own live reaction when I was watching this. I was laughing a lot when that happened, since he opened like well over 1.3k Troves of Wonder only to get a fortress towards the end, and I felt that frustration when he said that. Oh my god, that was so hilarious. But enough about posting clips and such. Sorry Django, I had to do it. That was hilarious and it was funny as all hell. So yeah, anyways, let's get started with today's topic, which is going to be Rapt Berserker and Prefect Penguin. And why do I think these are the best allies in the game to use on any class for dungeon grinding? This includes the Gunslinger, this includes the Dino Tamer. Two classes who are just known for using a lot of cooldown reduction for the most part. So these two allies are pretty much identical stat wise. The only difference is that Rapt Berserker is physical damage and Prefect Penguin is a magic damage boost. And you know me, I need to talk everything bit by bit so you can understand it completely. So, first and foremost, how do you get both of these allies? These two allies are tradable allies that you can buy them in the marketplace. Prefect Penguin is usually cheap, while the Rapt Berserker seems to be the one that is rather expensive. Rapt Berserker is a rare item from the Raptor Soul Trash, which you can buy them from one of the Treasure Isles NPC in the Dragon World. So one of those ships that you find randomly, one of them can have the Raptor Soul Trap, and you can buy Raptor Soul Trap for 300 glim each. So it is the rare drops from those boxes. I don't think those boxes have any karma bars, so yeah, so you have to get lucky on that one. Prefect Penguin, on the other hand, it can only be gone through Winter Adventure Chest, which drops randomly when you kill an enemy, and this box actually has a karma bar, so you should be able to get it within 70 boxes. But in my opinion, it's better to buy both of them because both of them can be gone pretty easily. Secondly, the stats that both ally gives is a plus 20% bonus damage. Remember that I say bonus damage. Rapt Berserker is physical damage, Prefect Penguin is magic damage, remember, by the way, so that's why I will say damage instead of going magic or physical damage. So yeah, remember, I do say bonus damage. I made a video explaining what is bonus damage and raw damage, so how to increase or how to maximize your total physical damage and magic damage, which I'll leave a card in right there on screen, so if you want full details. But TLDR, your total damage on the character sheet is a combination between your raw damage and bonus percentage damage, and so this will give you a plus 20% of your raw damage, so not 20% of your total damage. So yeah, that's pretty much how it works. And yeah, if you want to check that video, I would suggest check that video if you want full explanation. Anyways, moving on. Both allies also gives a plus 15% of your maximum health and a movement speed buff when a nearby enemy dies. So you don't have to be the one who kills the enemy in order to get the heal and the movement speed buff. You can heal up to 4 times a second, but you will see that rarely happen. But keep in mind that the cooldown is very short. The movement speed buff is also pretty important since it gives a plus 30 base movement speed increase for 5 seconds. And this movement speed buff doesn't have a cooldown, which is pretty insane. A plus 30 movement speed buff is the equivalent of a Pyrodis, and Pyrodis has a 30-second cooldown, so this one doesn't have a cooldown, and it gives the same movement speed buff, so you know how good it is. And the Vanguardian's Force Flash ability, which also has a 20-second cooldown, and you know it is also a plus 30 movement speed, so you know how strong this ally, the plus 30 movement speed, is. Saying that it gives you a 5-second duration, no cooldown movement speed buff, it is pretty nice. So how good is a plus 30 movement speed buff on its own? So you can keep that into consideration. So a plus 30 movement speed buff, if we look at it at max crystal level 3 equipment on a class that has a base 40 movement speed, for example the Knight, it means that a max crystal level 3 equipment with movement speed has a base 99 movement speed. If you include the plus 30 from this buff, from this ally, you will be running at 129 movement speed. And this is just with a max crystal level 3 equipment plus the Rapt Berserker or Prefect Penguin buff. This is faster than a 30k PR Knight subclass mount, which it can go up to 125 movement speed. And to top it all off, this movement speed buff is stackable with all movement speed buff like Pirate Days, Vampire Vanquisher, and Trailblazing. So this is an essential part of the end game speed farming class. On any end game speed farming class, this is probably the most important one because it will give you the most consistent movement speed buff. So yeah, that's how good this is. And the movement speed buff alone is why this is by far the best ally in the game for dungeon grinding. And you might be thinking, what about the cooldown reduction ally like Chrono Fleet or the Starlight Dragon Link? Or might you find ally like the Cotton Candy or the Chido High Dragon ally or Chalk or whatever you want to call it, or any of those allies? After the Going Green update, the cooldown reduction ally can be easily replaced with the Watch a Bunch per Little Food. Since the best one, which is the Chronomancer Fleet and Little Bergie, has a 25% cooldown reduction, which is pretty good for Shadow Towers, Leviathan and such. But for dungeon grinding, the place that where you want to complete as much dungeon as possible in the little amount of time, yeah, cooldown reduction allies are not going to triumph over a 30 movement speed buff. There's no way in hell you're going to move that much slower compared to a 30 movement speed buff ally. And like I mentioned, the Perp Little Food can also replace these allies that grant cooldown reduction, because the Perp Little Food grants a 20% cooldown reduction. The allies grant a 25%. So it's a 5% difference, which you are not going to notice any difference. And it means that you can have the food alongside the movement speed buff ally on top of that. So yeah, that's pretty nuts. So you will be able to get both the movement speed ally and a similar cooldown reduction to the best cooldown reduction ally. So yeah, that is why it is best just to use the Perp Little Food alongside Prefect Penguin or Rapt Berserker. As far as Magic Find allies are concerned, you need to ask yourself this: do you prefer getting a guaranteed buff that'll help you clearing dungeons faster, or just have a little bit of better of a loot drop or gear drop? So yeah, you see where I'm coming from. And so I'll just take the guaranteed buff all the time, since it will help me out in completing dungeons. So why the hell not use it instead of just using something that'll help me a little bit in terms of getting better drops? And sometimes it's not even going to help out a whole lot. So yeah. Anyways, that is my full reasoning of why do I think the Rapt Berserker and Prefect Penguin are the best allies in the game for dungeon grinding. If you don't have any of these allies, get them. These are top priority allies that you should be using at any portion of the game. As soon as you start up the game, this should be your first priority ally. This will help you out in speed farming dungeon. These are also allies that will grant you 50 mastery points if you care about also that. If you think that it will not grant you a lot of mastery points, 50 mastery points is still pretty nice. And yeah, it will help you in speed farming, it will help you out in survivability. So there's no point in just using other allies over this ally. That is all my reasoning, that is all for me. Thank you for watching, thank you for sticking around. As always, leave a like if you want to help the channel grow, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And that is all for today. Once again, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Take care and keep on hunting. See ya.